Hello Aquarius, welcome to my channel and welcome to your December 2023 Tarotscope. It is a blessing to be here with you, so thank you for being here with me. In the description box below, you will find links to information on personal readings, information on the Soul Good membership channel on Telegram, and information on donations if you would like to explore any of those options, but of course, no pressure. There will also be a timestamp if you would like to jump to the start of your reading. However, please do use your discernment and keep in mind that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading, so take only what resonates with you and leave the rest. You may want to check out your Sun, Moon, and Rising Tarotscopes for deeper insights to your month. December is a universal 1 month, which means as we close out 2023, a new cycle begins. This happens every 9 years and does invite us to get a head start on what can unfold as we move forward. The number 1 resonates with the energies and attributes of new beginnings, instinct and intuition, creation, inspiration, uniqueness, action, motivation, self-leadership and self-empowerment, positivity, and creating our own realities. This is what we're going to be looking at for this month, diving into your overall energy, what wants to be created through or for you, and this does not have to be physical, what challenges this might present, and getting some advice to best support and serve you moving forward. So, Aquarius, without any further ado, let's dive into your month. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, tell us please about the overall energy of December 2023 for Aquarius. Tell us about the overall energy of December 2023 for Aquarius, please. Thank you. Tell us what wants to be created through or for Aquarius, please. Okay, thank you. Tell us, please, what challenges might this present for Aquarius? Thank you. And tell us what advice will best, okay, thank you. Tell us more, please, about the overall energy of December 2023 for Aquarius. Tell us more, please. Okay. Yeah. Yes. All right. And okay. Tell us more, please. What wants to be created? All right. Thank you. That one as well. Tell us more, please. What challenges might this present for Aquarius? I'm getting a bit of like a throat chakra thing going on. I do feel like for some of you, there could be challenges in expressing your truth, being communicative, imaginative. Okay, thank you. Tell us more, please, about the advice that will best support and serve Aquarius. Okay, that one, that one, that one, those, and this one. Wow, okay. Anything else we need to know or may have missed, please, about the overall energy of December 2023 for Aquarius? Anything else we need to know or may have... All right, thank you. Anything else we need to know or may have missed, please? All right, thank you. Anything else we need to know or may have missed, please, about the challenges This might, okay. Anything else we need to know or may have missed, please, about the advice that will best support and serve Aquarius? Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right, Aquarius, the overall energy for you. We do have breaking the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. I feel as though, and this is going to go without saying based on what I've just read, I feel as though the overall energy for you this month, Aquarius, does have a lot to do or is centered or focused around your healing. I feel as though for some of you, how do I say this? For some of you, I feel as though these ancestral patterns may be obvious to you, right? You may be able to see where down the line, or, perhaps your parents and grandparents and great grandparents have experienced certain things, and that for whatever reason, I feel like for some of you in your earlier years, you may have been in a particular way of thinking or a particular belief system or something of that nature. But as you've gotten older, I feel as though it didn't resonate with you. I feel like there's this overwhelming sense of, that is not me. I do not agree with that. And it feels as though there may have been a period of time where you were maybe trying to break free from that. But I feel like there's been this, I don't know how. I feel like for some of you, there's something here around like societal programming or maybe cultural programming or ancestral programming or something, where finding your way away from that has been a struggle because of what is expected of you. And I do feel as though for many of you, you are trying to rewrite your future. For example, if you have children, I feel like there's something about being mindful of how you parent or what you are teaching your children, because I feel like there's this desire to not keep sending that forward, or to not bring those same patterns in. Or if you don't have children, I feel like there's been this kind of, if I ever have kids, that's not going to be something I do. I don't know exactly what this is, and certainly it's likely to look very different for everyone. But I feel like there's this expansion of consciousness, there's this expansion of wisdom, and I feel like there's this desire to want to bring that through. There are others of you that I feel maybe it almost feels as though you might be unaware of where this patterning comes from. And it feels like it could have been further down in the line. It's really odd. I don't feel like that's going to be for everyone. I feel as though that's probably going to be something that's few and far in between. But I do feel like the whole point, regardless of whether it is solely about ancestral patterns or not, whatever has happened in your experience in the past, I feel like there's this desire to change it. And again, for some of you, I feel like this is something you've noticed. This is something that there's this desire for. You may have noticed this, even in your younger years. And I feel like this is about writing your story. And for some, it is a desire to live very intentionally. We have here for you as well, Seven of Swords. Yeah, changing the tactic or the strategy, right? Really like rethinking how you're going about life. For some of you, there's also, this essentially this almost a strategic approach, right? I feel like it's very Aquarian, very reformative, where it's like, again, it's just wanting to do things differently and feeling the desire and the need to do that. I feel like for some of you, this is quite important. It doesn't feel like a laughing matter or a joking matter or something that is taken lightly. I feel as though for some of you, there's this focus. How do I say? It's like there's like this focus or determination to do things differently. And for some, it feels as though it's about making how you experience life, what life feels like to you, changing that. Because it feels like there's something in the past that doesn't feel right or feels less, let's say, colorful or like robust or flavorful, if you will, about life. It's really quite interesting to me. For some of you, I feel like this has something to do with deep connections, like deep connections. I'm getting the words like I never really knew them. I never really knew them. Um, because it feels like whoever them is, it feels like things have been kind of surface level, right? And I feel like there's a desire to get deeper. It's let's see what else we have. The Eight of Wands. This is yeah. This feels like the intention right here. This feels like the intention because that Eight of Wands energy is about, you know, slow movement, and I feel like it feels like I like that again, that intention to do things differently. So I feel like for some of you, you're not just running through life willy-nilly, right? So again, that's not going to resonate with everyone, but it does feel as though doing everything that you can, that you can think of, or yeah, it feels like doing everything you can to make those changes. And I think it's fascinating that we go from 7 to 8, even though it's a different suit. It is that I feel like it's that desire to move forward, right? To not be living in the past, or to not be living through, you know, old experiences or old ways of being, old ways of doing things, old paradigms. It really does feel incredibly reformative. Like I want these changes to be made. And I feel like there's some kind of acknowledgement about the need to take things slow, to be intentional, or that change takes time. And it feels like you could be making those moves this month, or you could have even been doing it previously. Right? I just feel like there's this desire to move things forward, but there's a very almost grounded aspect of this where again it feels very intentional. Let's see what else. Got lots of cards here. So Ace of Wands. Yeah, I feel like this feels very much about that courage. It feels like, how do I say? There's a certain level of courage and confidence and even enthusiasm that it takes to embark on this kind of healing. And I feel like there are those of you who are actually quite aware of that. I feel like there's an understanding that there's a certain fire that has to be applied to really creating changes. I love that you have the ace here because I feel as though it feels like that phoenixy kind of energy. The eight can also be this energy of rebirth. And I feel that with that phoenix energy that I'm getting and the one here, it feels like there's this acknowledgement that in order to create this healing, in order to rewrite your future, there is a need to let things burn, to let things essentially die in order to be reborn, in order to experience something new. You know, I'm really being brought to this one energy where it's about utilizing the opportunity to consciously step into your personal power. That's what it feels like to me. And I feel like even though you may face fears and challenges and these sorts of things, there's some element that is moving from that. I'm just going to be honest, it feels like desire or drive to experience better, to experience a more colorful life, right? To feel that fire in your belly. I like this a lot, actually. And I like the fact that it's a little bit more slow moving because I've been getting a lot of this in my membership daily readings where it's this energy of wanting to hurry up and like create the things, wanting to take action on the things that we want to create and manifest, and the realities that we want to experience. But there's that need to take it slowly so we're building on firm foundations and we're not rushing ahead where we still have things we need to be working through. And I feel like this is coming through here. Again, take it only if it resonates, but it's a pretty powerful place to be in if this is resonating with you. You do have Akashic Stargate, aligned with purpose, crossroads, no wrong path. This feels like, I almost feel like this is something that, how do I say, you may not have met or arrived at that crossroads yet. December may bring you there, or beyond that, right? As we move into 2024, you may be brought to that place. This feels more like, for some of you, this alignment with purpose feels like it could actually be, the part of like why you're here. Breaking the chain, healing, right? Moving away from these ancestral patterns. It feels like for some of you, like this is part of your purpose. You may be, what is the word? You may be familiar with the term like black sheep, and you may feel that way, right? You may feel like the oddball out. You may feel like the outsider. You may feel like I'm the only one in my family who thinks about these kinds of things or looks at things this way, or feels this way about life or what have you. I just feel like for some of you, there's this energy of like feeling things from a very different perspective, seeing things and experiencing things from a very different perspective. And I feel like for some of you, this is part of your purpose, is to, in this incarnation, break free from some of these patterns. I also feel that doing so will likely open up doorways for you moving forward. What those look like, of course, is going to be different for everyone, but I feel as though this, like I said, it very well could be part of your purpose, is to really just shift things for yourself and for your ancestral line, which is interesting AF because, I do pick up on the feeling that some of you do have children, and this is something that is important within your being to some degree or another. you may parent very, very differently than your parents and your grandparents and those before them. We have here for you as well Seraphim's Gateway Voice Activation. There's that throat chakra I was picking up on. Angelic attunement and divine support. Yeah, you know, I feel as though, so here's the thing, the Seraphim are the spirits of love, and I feel like for some of you, there's been this emotional detachment in your past, right? And I feel like, here's the thing, Aquarius, it's easy, let me rephrase that. One of the lower characteristics, if you will, or traits of that Aquarian energy can be that emotional detachment. And I feel as though it's almost like maybe in your earlier years or something, you know, you almost like saw yourself doing that. Or maybe you're someone who did that previously and are now healing that for yourself or have been healing that for yourself. And I feel like there's this desire, again, I got that energy of like wanting deeper. And now we have this spirits of love or the seraphim. And it feels like this is where I feel like it's like I want to move from love. I want to experience love fully, deeply, right? It's like I don't want to be disconnected. I don't want to be impersonal, right? I don't want to be detached. I do feel like you have support in this. And it's interesting because we have divine support here, but I'm also getting that ancestral support, right? Loved ones who have passed. Perhaps you're aware of these ancestors. Perhaps it's much further down your line and you may not even have ever met them in a physical sense. But I do feel like you're supported, and maybe you feel that from time to time. I'm also getting, you know, with this voice activation, I was getting that throat chakra thing. And I feel like there's, how do I say? There, for, I don't know if this is for someone very, very specific. I'm getting fear as well. It feels like, how do I say? In the past, for some, again, maybe for someone very specific, there's this quieting of self. There's this not speaking what's on your heart, what's on your mind, withholding. And I feel like it's wild because it does feel a little bit of like that detachment. But I feel as though for some it's just kind of the environment that you were in and not feeling like that was something that you could do. This may be part of a wound or trauma that you are healing or have been healing. And it feels like there's this encouragement to step into your voice, right? Or there's this no, not determination, that's not the right word. What is the word? It feels like I'm not just going to sit back and not voice my truth. Like it almost feels like this, funny enough, this kind of like rebellion against that kind of restriction, right? I hope that makes sense. But I do feel like there's this encouragement to be sitting in your truth and to be expressing that, especially if you're somebody who has experienced that, you know, feeling like you could not do that previously. We also have here for you Earth Star activation, anchoring grounded action, and Isis energy. Yeah, this really does feel, you know, this kind of like anchoring and grounded action. Like this feels very much in alignment with that intention that I was picking up on. It's, how do I say this? But the thing of it is I feel like it's it's almost not, how do I say this? It's so odd. because it feels to, so I'm doing this on pure intuition. So this doesn't really go with what the guidebook um says about this card, but it feels to me like really anchoring in this new tactic, this new strategy, this new way of being, this new approach to things. And it feels like implementing that in order to create that new beginning, which, I mean, I'm being brought to Isis energy, which, Osiris was cut into pieces. I think it was 14 pieces or something like that. And then she brings all of those pieces back together. And it feels like there's this new beginning where it's like grounding into this energy, anchoring into it, being very intentional, moving with it, you know what I'm saying? Implementing it and allowing that to really bring you to your center, bring you to yourself, to feel more complete. And I feel like that's essentially at the root, simply due to living from a very truthful, authentic place that feels fulfilling to you, that feels good to you, that makes sense to you, though that may not be true for the people around you. It's really kind of interesting to me, um, but it feels like bringing these concepts, this perspective into your reality. Yeah, we have Arcturian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. Yeah. Again, there's that energy of, if, like, I'm not doing this to my kids, or I'm not going to be like that with my children. And I'm not saying that necessary, like I'm not pointing fingers, okay? So I'm not saying your parents were horrible or anything of that nature. I just feel like, I mean, anything is possible, okay? It's a collective reading. But I feel like it's just, I just don't want to do it that way. Right? So even if your parents were lovely, I just don't want to do it that way. That's just not how I see things. That's just not what resonates with me. And I do feel, on the other side of that, there is this energy of reclaiming your power by making your life your own, by making the way you move through life, the way you perceive life, your own, standing in your own belief systems, right? Courageously, confidently, unapologetically. And I feel like this isn't to be, like, how do I say, mean or vindictive or anything of that nature. It just feels like this is just what is best for me, right? So if this is not something that you're already, you already have a thread on, let's say, before moving into December, you may, once December starts to unfold. All right, so what wants to be created through or for you, Aquarius? Yeah, don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? It is really about doing life your way. And it is that simple and that complicated, right? Just doing life the way that feels best for you. That's what I was saying. Like, it's really about standing in your beliefs and your perspectives. Like, it really does feel like what wants to be created for you is you standing in your power, you being you, you not muting yourself or diluting yourself in any way. And then again, this doesn't come from any kind of, negative or low vibe kind of energy. I feel like this is literally just because it's what serves you best. Yeah, Ace of Cups. Like I said, it's this I feel like there's this desire to want those deeper connections. And I feel like this is what wants to be created for you and through you. But it feels like, again, it has to come from that, how do I say? It comes from that opening up, that how do I say? Because there's that energy of that emotional detachment that I was picking up on earlier. And it feels like, wanting to get deeper and opening your heart up. And so I feel like all of this is unfolding to put you in this space where you aren't dimming your light, where you're being authentically which allows you to be more confident in yourself. I know that might sound a bit counterintuitive because oftentimes we're afraid to be who we truly are. But once you really start getting into that, and you find your groove, if you will, and you're not dimming your light, it's interesting how vulnerable you allow yourself to be. It's interesting how much you open your heart up because you love you, because you're comfortable in you. You feel safe and secure and grounded and trusting in yourself. And then it doesn't really matter what anybody else says anyways, right? That external validation or approval doesn't have merit anymore, really, right? So I feel like this open-hearted, deep emotional connection, and maybe this depth, this deep love, this deeper experience is just between you and you. Maybe it doesn't even have anything to do with other people. Okay? Certainly it could, of course, but I just feel like there's this want to experience life in a new way. And I don't mean that from a physical sense. I mean that very much from an emotional sense, from a spiritual sense, like to really just absorb life and to sink into it. So again, I feel like this is what wants to be created for you and through you, is this new beginning. You have the Ace of Wands and now the Ace of Cups out in a universal 1 month. So again, it's like I like this new beginning where things do not feel the same way that they once did, and I think it's beautiful. We have the Eight of Cups here as well, right? But with that Eight of Cups, because what wants to be created through you, as I shared earlier, does not have to be physical. It can be more about those perspectives and meanings and beliefs, as we've been talking about. And I feel as though there's this part of what wants to be created for you is the release of that, is the walking away from the things that aren't serving you, from the things that have perhaps held you in this position or this place where maybe surface level was enough, or or maybe it wasn't even enough, but you were just subjecting yourself to it anyways, right? Where or perhaps, this, how do I say? Wherever you may have been feeling like you couldn't be fully you, I feel like it's what's wanting to be created through you is the ability to see things differently, to live from this new space, this new way of being, where you are not dimming yourself and feel comfortable and confident, okay, walking away from anything that doesn't feel like you, how do I say, like you want it to. I don't know how to explain this, because it's like, how do I say, if you're in a situation, for example, where you are trying to be, this more intimate, more vulnerable, deeper or more deeply connected person, and there are people around you who, for whatever reason, their own trauma, their own wounding, their own programming, are uncomfortable with that. and they only want to do things at a surface level. It feels like what wants to be created is for you to be able to be in that place and to comfortably, confidently move away from it. Not because that person is bad, not because they've, harmed you, whether that be mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it is, but rather because it's what is best for you, because it's what is most in alignment with what it is you want to experience. I hope this makes sense. It's leaving behind anything that makes you feel like you can't be fully you, authentically you, transparently you, truthfully you. We do have here Order of Melchizedek, embraced by light, mission uncovered, don't give up. Like I said, I feel like for some of you, this is part of your purpose, right? Being the outsider, being the black sheep, whatever it is. I feel, the curse breaker. I feel like this is part of what you're doing here, right? This is part of your mission. And I do feel like also, I feel like there's this nudge from spirit, if you will, or this encouragement from spirit that is wanting this for you. Because once you are in this place where you are living your most authentic, most truthful life, that overflows or dominoes into many, many other areas of your life. Okay? You become, how do I say this? Like, you become a role model, a leader, a beacon of light for other people. And even though they don't need it, you living your most truthful, most authentic self, just doing that alone without saying anything to anyone or anything like this, gives other people permission to do the same. It gives them the courage to do the same. Right? So Aquarius, I feel like what wants to be created for you is this alignment with that mission, because you'll only continue to rise. And I do feel like there's another aspect of this where you have, how are you dimming your light in order to fit in? And now this embraced by light, because I feel like there's this, what wants to be created for you is for you to be embraced by light. What is light? Well, it's love, truth, wisdom, right? I also feel like, there's this, I feel like you have this support. I really feel that support coming through heavy from, the spiritual realms, the angelic hierarchies. I really feel like you have a lot of support in bringing this reformation into your life. And I feel like they could be assisting you with your fears, because the better you feel about yourself, the more, let's say, helpful you are to God, right? Maybe you call it source, maybe you call it universe, right? Whatever you resonate with, you become a tool for the good, right? We have here for you as well, Venusian Galactic Council, answer the call, time to shine. Yeah. Again, I feel like this is a call for you, Aquarius, to really shine your light. And I feel like Spirit wants to get you in this position where you feel comfortable doing that, where you feel good, empowered, confident, enthusiastic doing this. It feels more lively, right? There you, and here we have this guide energy again. So I just really feel like there's a lot of support around you. And I do feel that there's this desire to just really bring you out of yourself. Let's take a look at the challenges. Yeah, we have your soul family calling your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. The first thing I get as soon as I turn this card over is this may present challenges with your family, because I feel like it's doing things differently. And I feel like that ruffles feathers. It makes people uncomfortable because they like doing things the same way, right? They like the tradition, if you will, right? They like the way things are. And here you are doing things outside the box, doing things the way that they haven't been done before. And I feel like that creates a lot of discomfort. But here's the thing, Aquarius, I feel like I need to share that it is not your job to make other people comfortable with your light. It is their job to either rise up and recognize their own light, or to move along. Okay. I mean, you are not obligated to dim your light for anyone, family or not. And I feel like that can bring about challenges, right? It was interesting because I'm picking up on this like tradition energy, and this like maybe you felt like you couldn't do things or say things the way you wanted to because there's this expectation, right? And I feel like this is where that challenge comes in, because I feel like your family may, object to you doing things in a different way. I also feel like, yeah, yep. I feel like for some of you, another part of the challenge can be what feels like isolation that comes from choosing your own path. Because I feel like there's that desire for that depth. There's a desire for that connection, that oneness, that connectedness. And I feel like, for those who may not agree with the path you've chosen, that may be a bit difficult, right? Which is, I feel like for some of you, which is why there's so much energy around, the guides, spirit, the ancestors, the angels, all kind of supporting you and being around you. Okay, maybe that doesn't resonate with everyone, but it does feel like that's why I just feel like, we all have a guardian angel anyways, but I feel like there's like additional or like backup support, right? Because I feel like some of you may really be needing that because you've chosen this different way of doing things. Okay? We cannot make this up. We have 4 of Wands here in the reverse. This can be domestic dispute, right? Or conflict within the family. Feeling like you're not supported. It's the challenge. But please do know, Aquarius, that if this is your story, if this resonates with you, that you do have support, even if you can't see it with your physical eyes. It is there for you. All you have to do is ask. The angelic hierarchy, the spiritual hierarchy, they are not going to impose or force anything upon you, even to help you. I'm not saying that they don't do things to help you, orchestrate things, work in your favor, but they're not going to make you do anything. That's not how those hierarchies work. So all you have to do, if you feel alone, if you feel, isolated, if you feel unsupported, all you have to do is ask. All you have to do is ask. And I feel like, this is helping you to build these firm foundations and stability in yourself, in your own choices, in your own being. All right? We have here for you as well, Yeah, emerald tablet activation, cosmic ordering, divine alchemy, conscious manifesting. Yeah, I feel like part of the challenge for some of you could be alchemizing the situation, literally, like really, like alchemizing the situation, right? Turning a negative into a positive, turning a wound into um, a power. Okay, I feel like, because here's the thing, right? We could look at it as, for example, I don't have support. I'm all by myself. I'm isolated, right? And something's been taken from me. Or we can look at it as, I am in this period where I feel alone, though I'm not alone, in order to be able to recognize my own strengths, in order to be able to do life my own way, in order to be able to shine my light brightly and not fear that, to heal, to grow, to evolve, right? So instead of what this has taken from you, perhaps looking at it as what has this given me, that can be a challenge, I feel, for some of you. Okay. I also feel like for some, there's this challenge in accepting and acknowledging that some of these things have been divinely orchestrated or cosmically ordered. I almost feel like that's probably not the way that this is supposed to come through, but that's how it feels, right? It feels like I need, like Aquarius, I need you over here so you can do your thing and shine your light and be your most authentic true self. And I need all of this other group over here. Because if you stay over here, you're just going to be dim, right? You're just going to stay where you've been. And I really want you to grow. I really want you to evolve. I really want you to heal. I really want you to love your light. So I need you over here so you can see it without all of this other energy dimming it, smothering it. Right? I hope that makes sense, but I feel like that could be the challenge for you. Actually, I'm feeling called to grab the book here. So let me just pop in and see what we have on this emerald tablet and the message. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So here it says, all that has unfolded so far has given you the opportunity to learn and grow, even the unsettling moments. But you are a master alchemist with the capacity to take all that was once challenging and use it to create positive opportunities for yourself. Yes, that's what I feel like the challenge is, right? Okay, let's look at your advice, Aquarius, and you got a lot here. So, oh yes, we have unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, past lives. Goes right along with this ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. Right? So I feel the advice here is to free yourself, to let your light shine, Aquarius, to be your most authentic, most truthful, to be you, right? And here's the thing, if you look, there are two women who are bound or tethered and one who isn't. If you can see that. This is telling me, Aquarius, that for some of you, the advice that's going to best support and serve you is sometimes you have to leave people behind. Sometimes you outgrow them. And I know this is challenging. I am not saying this is easy, okay? But sometimes that's what's best for you. And it's not because you hate them. It's not because you don't love them or don't care about them. It is simply because it is what is best for you at the time. You know, perhaps they will rise to meet you. Perhaps they will free themselves. But as souls, individual souls, it is not your responsibility, nor can you save anyone but yourself. It is not your responsibility to stay in one place because someone else refuses to rise. Okay? It is not your responsibility to dim your own light because someone else refuses to shine theirs or discover theirs. Again, so I feel like the advice for some is you know, sometimes you have to leave people behind. Okay? We do have here the 7 of Wands showing up for you to start out the tarot. And, you know, I feel like the advice here is that you may experience times when you're going to want to give up. Let's just be real, right? Let's not dance around the issue. Let's not pretend this is going to be a walk in the park. But we have here, right? Don't give up, which is wild to me because these are 2 different decks, 2 totally different authors, 2 different types of cards. And this one here is saying, don't give up. And this card here is an energy of like wanting to give up. Okay. So I feel like the advice is, even if you want to give up, even if you're overwhelmed, okay, even if your confidence has dwindled, do not give up. Do not give up. If you need support and you don't feel like you have that, call upon your angels, call upon the guides, call upon Christ, God, you know, your ancestors, whatever it is you feel comfortable doing. Ask for that support, pray about it, meditate on it. But do not give up on yourself. Okay? Yes. Yes. Do not give up on yourself. This is a time of awakening for you, where you are, how do I say this? It's like you're becoming more transparent with yourself. This is about you rising. This is about you recognizing the you behind you, the soul behind your body, or within your body, rather. Right? This is about your rebirth, your renewal, that inner calling. You know, so I feel like the advice is for you to, again, if you feel like giving up, take that inward. Reflect on it. Right? Remind yourself that you know, that this is your rebirth. Be honest with yourself. Am I moving from fear? Do I feel like giving up because I'm afraid? Because I'm lacking confidence? Because I'm lacking faith or trust? Right? Have that honest conversation with yourself and look at, again, 2 different decks, 2 different authors, but notice the similarity between this woman who is unbound and the judgment figure there. All right. We have here for you as well the 5 of Wands. Yeah, here's the thing. It's you against you, Aquarius. It is literally you against yourself. The only person that can stop you from freeing yourself from patterns, contracts, you know, any kind of pattern, soul pattern, ancestral pattern, you know, any kind of repetitive cycle, or any kind of wounds or traumas, karmas, is you. You are your only competition, right? And again, this may bring about conflict. This may bring about adversity. Maybe it feels unstable. But that's how we grow. That's how we create changes, by being uncomfortable, by facing conflict and carrying on, by moving forward, right? We don't stop in our tracks and freeze. That's not how we move forward, right? So I feel, recognizing that you are your only competition here. No one can do this for you, that it has to be something you do for yourself. I feel like this is the advice, right? Is, again, really recognizing that. And good golly, there's a lot of wands energy here. A lot. Which I feel like is about that reclaiming of your power, your personal power. I feel like it's also about that transformation or that rebirth, right? Standing in your strength. Ooh, yes. You have the wheel. Come on now. Come on. You have the freaking wheel. We were just talking about karma and cycles, patterns, right? I am getting fear, but the advice here is like, how do I say this? The advice here is that things can change for you. You are at a turning point. And when you are experiencing, these moments where you're lacking confidence, or you're overwhelmed, or you feel unsupported, or you want to give up, it's like, remember why you started, right? Remember what you're doing here. Remember that your only competition is you. And remember that you hold the power within you, right? To change this, to really change it. To complete a cycle, fulfill a cycle, right? To bring this to a close. To experience something new. To create changes. To align more with your destiny. And I mean, again, here, when we reduce the wheel, we come back to that one energy. The one in the tarot is the magician. And this magician energy is essentially having everything you need to succeed. Everything. Right? It's activating the magic within you by focusing your willpower and your desires and your actions to shape and create your world. Right? To bring things full circle. We have here for you, ooh, good golly. Ooh, so your advice is full of the major arcana, which is that journey of yourself, and again is bringing me back to that same message that I shared with you of it's you against you. The major arcana is essentially like the journey through the mystery of you. Right? Death and rebirth in the reverse is that fear of change. It can also be like a stagnant energy, holding on to things, right? It can be fighting the passage of time, or like not being able to put the past behind you. I feel like the advice here is to not fear the change, to not stagnate yourself by resisting, because the change wants to come in clearly. You have two aces and the wheel. Change wants to come in. Not only that, but we have different tactics and strategies. I mean, pretty much everything that you have here is speaking on this change, this transformation. So it's essentially like, allow yourself to be freed by allowing this change to happen, right? Not fearing it. Letting things burn, if you will, in order to be reborn, right? Like the phoenix. And the King of Swords, turning knowledge into wisdom, living in truth. Also, having the discipline to, I feel, how do I say this? So it's like living in your truth, but having the discipline to accept that, to turn that truth into wisdom. So, for example, if the truth is a situation isn't good for you, turning that into wisdom is getting out of that situation, right? And this is connected with your energy, Aquarius. So it's like showing up for yourself. Having that higher perspective of things. And I feel like sitting there, staying there in that higher perspective. Again, turning that knowledge into wisdom, turning that truth into wisdom by utilizing it. Because you see things differently. It's like stay there. This is super freaking fascinating to me. Right? And again, like, the King of Swords has the owl here, wisdom. It has the crow, the dragonfly, the bat, right? All of which can gain this higher perspective. And I think it's interesting AF that, both the owl and the bat are nocturnal. So it's like still holding that higher perspective, even in the darkness, right? The darkness being essentially negativity, the challenge, right? It's maintaining that and holding that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is part of that advice. Again, that is going to best support and serve you as you move forward. Staying, or how do I say? Like standing firm in your truth. Right? Finally, we have here for you Lemurian seed codes, embracing sensitivity, uniqueness, and living with grace. I feel like the advice here for you, Aquarius, is to give yourself grace, right? To be tender with yourself, right? Appreciate what you're doing. There's this, I feel like it can, how do I say this? Embarking on this journey, Aquarius, it can get real easy to want to just detach, to want to just not feel the things, to want to just go back to the way things were. Okay? Because it can be difficult to sit in our stuff. It can be difficult to sit in our depth, our emotion, and surrender to that. But if we give ourselves grace, it becomes much easier, right? If we allow ourselves to be human, if we recognize that emotions are sacred and valuable in their contexts and that they carry deep wisdom for us, then we can start to authentically heal. Because we don't want to bypass the emotion. Right? And because how do I say? Sometimes we can get discouraged because that, like, we've been programmed to, like, things like anger and hurt and sadness and grief and, rage are bad and we shouldn't feel them. Now, certainly How we express those is another story entirely. But in their context, they're valuable. They hold wisdom for us. We don't want to fear our humanness. That creates resistance. Instead, we want to embrace that we're human and we have this full spectrum of emotions, right? I'm actually going to grab the message for this as well and just read this before we close out your reading. Give me just a moment. This may provide something important or valuable for someone. So here we are. You are a highly sensitive being. You might feel that this is a curse, but this card is here to let you know that it is a gift, that you have spent lifetimes upon lifetimes living with a giant shield up to stop the world seeing the real you. But you are a highly unique soul with incredible gifts that are worth sharing. Through embracing your uniqueness, you can help many others embrace their own. This lifetime is a more graceful existence with less defense and more trust. It's not about protecting yourself, but stepping into the space of surrender and revealing your true self. And that absolutely aligns with a lot of what's come through here, right? We have that don't dim to fit in, time to shine, this being your most authentic and true self. And I feel as though, part of this truly, Aquarius, is just embracing who you actually are, right? Being ruled by Uranus automatically puts you in this, unique category, right? Actually, an astrologer, when I took a class, an astrologer actually said that Aquarius is very much like a freaking alien. Like they feel like completely from a different planet, right? So you're meant to feel that way. You're meant to be unique. You're meant to stand out. That is part of you. And so I feel like this advice here is to embrace you, embrace your uniqueness, embrace your individuality, embrace the skills, gifts, talents, unique perspectives, ideas, creations that you can share with all of us, right? You are meant to do things differently. So, I feel like, again, the advice here is for you to embrace that, to see the beauty in it, to recognize the power in it. Okay? This has been an incredible, incredible reading, Aquarius. Thank you so, so much for joining me. That is what I have for you for December 2023. If something here has been valuable, has provided confirmation or clarity for you, or resonated in some way, shape, or form, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting below, or subscribing. It does tell YouTube that there may be something valuable here for someone else, and so I really appreciate you opening that door for those individuals. It also helps me as an intuitive, so again, thank you so, so much for doing that. I pray that this month you are able to see how beautiful and amazing and marvelous and magnificent your unique light is, and that you have the confidence and the courage to shine it brightly, unapologetically, truthfully, and beautifully as you are. Take care of your evolving, courageous, unique, beautiful soul. Peace be with you and within you, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.